Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into a story that I think is going to resonate with a lot of you. It's about personal and professional transformation.
It really is. We're talking about an individual named Ami, and her story is for anyone who has ever felt, completely stuck in that corporate grind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chasing a paycheck instead of a real passion. We're
Right.
going to chart her journey from this absolute breaking point. And I mean literally crying alone at her desk at 11 p.m.
Over some urgent tasks she'd never even seen before.
Right. From that low point to building her creative side ventures, which are called fuye in Chinese, into a real legitimate business.
Yeah.
And it's now generating, what, an annual profit of around 700,000.
That's right. And it's so much more than just a success story. It's really a strategic roadmap. Ami basically cracked the code on this problem so many of us face.
That balancing act.
Yeah, that balancing act between the main mission of your corporate job and finding a personal branch mission that actually fulfills you. And her success, it's not just a feeling, it's quantifiable.
The numbers are impressive.
Oh, they are. Over 60,000 subscribers on YouTube and, 130,000 followers on Xiaohongshu.
So our mission today is to really dig into the sources she provided. We want to pull out the exact strategies, the mindset shifts, and the key lessons that let her make this incredible leap.
We'll break it down chronologically. First, the 3 stages of her corporate career that sort of pushed her out the door.
And then we'll pivot to the business side. We're going to look at the specific, repeatable strategies she used to turn her passion into a seriously profitable company. Let's start with her early career.
Which was fast-paced, to say the least.
Yeah, Ami even admits it herself. Anyone in HR would look at her resume, 3 jobs in 3 years, and probably think she was, fickle.
But for her, these jumps weren't about instability. They were like accelerated learning periods. She was extracting these very specific lessons from each role that would, inform everything she did later.
Okay, so let's talk about job number 1, a small marketing startup.
Right. And her boss there was a Russian woman, a self-proclaimed China marketing expert who spoke fluent Chinese. And she taught Ami what we're calling lesson 1.
Which is?
Stop trying to fix your weaknesses. Start leveraging your strengths.
That really goes against the grain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We always hear about the barrel effect, that you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Exactly. You have to make every plank the same length so you can hold more water. But her boss was all about the long plank philosophy.
So find what you're great at and just double down on that.
That's it. Her boss mastered one skill top-tier public speaking for her personal brand.
Yeah.
And everything else, the stuff she was weak at, like detailed writing or reading dense reports, she just outsourced it.
And for Ami, this immediately put a spotlight on her own unique asset.
Her aesthetics, her design sense, it turned out her presentations, her PPTs were just consistently, visibly better than everyone else's.
So it wasn't just that she was doing a good job, it was that she had this, like, an innate talent for it.
100%. She even got the nickname Mei Gom, which means aesthetics queen. And pretty soon she was the one doing the final visual polish on everyone's work. It just validated that her long plank was designed.
That validation then helped her land her second job, right? A PR and comms role at a big Chinese investment bank.
And this was a massive shift. She called it the big bad wolf environment. High pressure, high stress, just a lot.
But even in that toxic environment, she managed to pull out this incredibly powerful leadership maxim.
She did. It became foundational for her later on, for her time management. Her leader taught her, manage tasks with priority and urgency. Manage people with clarity and distance.
That's really dense. Let's break that down. The first part, managing tasks, that's pretty straightforward prioritization. But the second part, manage people with clarity and distance.
I think that was the key for her. It's all about disciplined boundary setting. Corporate jobs, especially for junior employees, just erode those boundaries.
And she was the newest person on the team.
Right, so she was constantly getting work dumped on her that was way outside her duties. That maxim, when she finally understood it, it gave her a framework. Yeah. It showed her that, emotional distance and clear communication are basically your only defense against burnout.
But her suffering there is what really led to the big catalyst for her exit. Tell us about that 11 p.m. moment.
Yeah, this is where it gets really raw. It was late, she was all alone at the office, and she'd been given this urgent project she had zero experience with. And as the stress just washed over her, she had this realization.
What happened?
She looked down and she was crying at her desk. Her tears were literally hitting the keyboard. And in that one moment, she just knew, chasing that big bonus. It was purely exchanging life for money. The math just didn't add up anymore.
So the decision was made right then and there, even though she did wait a few more months to get the bonus payout.
Right. Then she quit and moved on to Job 3, a foreign investment bank working in internal communications. And the irony here is just painful.
It really is. Her whole job was promoting the company's grand purpose and vision.
She spent almost a year just reviewing the CEO's statement over and over. Everyone should have a purpose. The first thing you want to do when you wake up.
And all that focus on other people's purpose just forced her to confront her own lack of it.
Totally. She said she felt like she was losing herself, just painting this grand vision for others that she didn't even believe in. She was constantly forced to ask, well, what is my purpose?
And then came the final straw.
The final straw. A change in leadership, and the entire purpose she had spent 10, 11 months promoting was just scrapped. Overnight. All that effort was suddenly meaningless.
Wow, that's devastating.
It confirmed everything for her, that the corporate main mission was just unstable and totally out of her control. But here's the crucial difference for Hami.
Okay.
Unlike her peers who felt trapped, she had an exit ramp. She had been cultivating her branch missions, her creative side ventures. She had other options.
And with those options, she made the leap. A purely naked resignation, as she called it. No job lined up.
Now, at this point, her side ventures were already matching her old corporate salary, which is amazing. But she didn't feel secure.
Right. There's a huge difference between matching a salary 1 month and having a secure, scalable business.
Exactly. So she needed a real strategy to scale. And this is where we shift from her mindset lessons to, actual actionable business strategy.
It starts with what she called her unequal advantage.
Right. Or information asymmetry. She realized that her success depended on leveraging her unique position in the market.
So what was that specific asymmetry she had?
It was twofold. First, she had this deep insider knowledge of the domestic Chinese market for stationery and handicrafts. She got it.
And the second part?
She also had access to foreign trends, specifically these expensive Japanese stationery items like customizable stamps and planners that were really hard for people in China to get their hands on.
So she spotted a clear market gap. There was huge domestic demand, but the supply from overseas was either too expensive or too difficult to access.
Precisely. So her strategy was simple. Fill that gap. Produce high-quality domestic alternatives that were affordable and easy to get. And crucially, this all came from something she genuinely loved. It was her long plank design.
This wasn't just some random profitable idea she found online.
No, it was authentic.
Yeah.
And that passion led her to strategy 2, which was all about extreme frugality and this philosophy of completion over perfection.
I love this detail about her saving habits. She saved HKD 100,000, that's over 12,000 US dollars in her first year, just by eating the subsidized meals at her company.
It's the ultimate form of risk management. Her first investment in her first product, that light-up acrylic calendar, it was tiny, maybe 1,000 to 2,000. She set a hard risk limit for herself of 5,000.
But she did her homework, she tested the prototypes, made sure they worked.
Oh yeah, writing, erasing, the lighting. She made sure it was a good product, but she didn't wait for it to be perfect. And then something happened that accelerated the whole thing.
The KOL friend.
Exactly. A friend who was a key opinion leader unexpectedly promoted the product online before Ami felt she was even 40% ready. It forced her hand.
This is such a powerful lesson. Perfectionism is the enemy of progress.
It really is. The lesson here is so clear. Completion is better than perfection. If she had waited another 6 months to get it perfect, someone else would have jumped into that market gap.
And the launch was a huge success.
Huge. The first 100 units sold out in a single day. She made a profit of something like 10,000 to 20,000 right off the bat.
That's incredible. But of course, the real test isn't just success, it's how you handle failure. Which brings us to strategy 3, persistence through failure.
Yes, what she calls spiral growth. After that first big win, she got a little overconfident. She decided to launch a whole new product line. iPad sleeves and laptop bags.
And she went big.
She went really big. Ordered 1,000 units because of the high minimum order quantity, the MOQ, and the launch was an immediate crash. She sold maybe a dozen.
Oof. That has to be a crushing feeling. The self-doubt must have been overwhelming.
It was. She seriously thought about just giving up, going back to a stable corporate job. Her mom was complaining about all the boxes of inventory piling up in the house.
So what made her stick with it for 6 months? How did she push through that doubt?
It wasn't just pure grit. It was, I think, a combination of the psychological safety net she'd built and just patience. The failure hadn't wiped her out completely.
Because she had other products, other income.
Exactly. And she had to be patient enough for the platform algorithms to catch up. After about 6 months, the algorithm finally recognized the 200 or so initial sales she'd slowly gathered.
So it needs a critical mass of data before it starts to promote a product.
It seems so. And once it kicked in, the product was suddenly pushed to a wider audience. Sales took off, this exponential growth, and the whole line became profitable.
The lesson there is that progress isn't a straight line.
Not at all. It's a spiral ascent. You have to wait long enough to hit that compound interest, that breakout point. If she'd quit at month 3, she would just been left in a massive loss.
But her learning didn't stop there. Strategy 4 actually came from another big, expensive failure, the handmade leather notebooks.
Right. And this was a real anomaly for her brand. She did it purely based on customer suggestions, not her own creative vision.
And they were expensive to make.
Very. High production cost, about 100 to 200 per unit. And the problems just multiplied. True leather can't easily be resold if it's returned, and high-value items just attract more complaints and scrutiny.
So it wasn't just a financial drain, it was a huge customer service headache.
It was exhausting, and she realized she'd made the decision out of what she called generosity to the market. She was trying to please everyone instead of trusting her own creative compass.
Which led to a really counterintuitive lesson for anyone in a creative business.
Be more selfish.
It's exactly. Strategy 4 is all about putting your internal purpose first.
Her rule now is that product decisions have to be driven by her own vision first. Then she can adjust based on market feedback. But the market doesn't get to dictate. That selfishness is what protects her brand's integrity.
And that focus on internal purpose really connects her product business to a content creation. Her media channels are the foundation, the fertile soil for everything she sells.
And she built that audience through just extreme dedication. I mean, think about her 365-day daily update challenge on Weibo. She did that while she was still in university.
And she said she kept going, partly because of a mild obsessive compulsion.
Yeah. She literally couldn't break the numbered sequence. 1365, 2365. She just had to keep going.
That consistency before she even had a big audience is what builds the creative muscle. Now her revenue is split, right?
Right.
50% media, 40% products.
And that dual income stream is a massive strategic advantage. It gives her integrity. She doesn't have to take every brand deal that comes her way.
She can say no.
She can say no. And she avoids turning her channels into just, pure advertising accounts. She maintains that trust.
And the ultimate driver for her now, which connects all the way back to her burnout, is that she's not motivated by material things anymore.
No. She realized what she's really chasing isn't a fancy car or a big house. Her primary drive is this: earning money makes me feel valuable. Money has become the quantifiable standard for the worth of her ideas.
Which is the ultimate payoff for finding your branch mission. She's getting paid for being herself.
Exactly. And for anyone listening who is feeling that pull, she offers 2 final pieces of advice. The first is non-negotiable. Possess a hobby or a passion.
She makes a great point that in a lot of competitive cultures, we lose our hobbies to utility. You learn piano for the grade points, not for the love of music.
Right. You have to find that pilot light, something you genuinely love, because that's the only reliable source of real entrepreneurial energy. Her entire business sprang from her love of design.
And her second piece of advice is just as crucial in the world we live in today.
Be a lifelong learner. She knows the world is changing too fast to stand still. She even gave a recent example with AI.
Right. She thought it was just a glorified search engine.
Until she forced herself to join an AI study group. And immediately, it opened her eyes to new tools, AI design software, knowledge management agents, that she could integrate right into her workflow.
It just shows that continuous learning isn't just academic. It gives you new tools for your own side quests in life.
That's a great way to put it.
So Ami's entire story, it's this powerful arc. It's about the pivot from being, as she saw it, an obedient corporate NPC to becoming a self-directed creator. And she did it by leveraging that unique, unequal advantage and just fiercely committing to her own interests.
And that profound lesson she learned after all that trial and error was the strategic need to be more selfish in her creative choices. Her success isn't driven by the market anymore. It's driven by her internal purpose demanding expression.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you, the listener. If you were to apply Ami's rule, be more selfish, starting today, what one professional decision rooted purely in your own purpose, your own passion, would you make tomorrow?
And what branch mission, using your own unique skills and information asymmetries, are you ready to finally start building?
We encourage you to really think about that this week. Find your own long plank.
And start testing that market gap.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.